Can't wait. And now, you don't have to, because this segment is on and popping. Bart Scott, Jeremy Fowler joining the program. Gentlemen, good morning to you. J-Bone, the Bengals finalized contract extensions with Jamar and T early this week. Now the focus shifts to Trey Hendrickson, who's also looking for an extension. Where do things stand between the two sides?
Gee, I'm told the talks between the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson are quiet right now. They tried to reignite things last week on a contract extension, talked for a few days, exchanged some potential offers, couldn't reach an agreement as of now. Also, the Bengals have not shown an eagerness to trade Trey Hendrickson, despite some clear interest from teams looking for a pass rusher at a premium spot. And so right now, this is at a stagnation point. The Bengals do want to pay Hendrickson. They've made him contract offers, but they are not, in the eyes of the player, commensurate with his skill set as a guy who has 35 sacks over the last 2 years. The pass rush market has exploded well above $35 million per year right now. So that's the rub right now. The team is going to continue to try. Their goal all along has been to lock up all three stars: Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, but they prioritize signing of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And you're paying your second receiver $28 million when you have a guy that has led the league in sacks, and he has 57 sacks over 4 years. I've seen this movie before with the Bengals with T.J. Houshmandzadeh and Chad Ochocinco. In this division, you have to play defense, and nobody's been better at the position, not even Myles Garrett over the last 2 years, and Trey Hendrickson. And last year they put a Band-Aid on the wound last year, thinking that he would have a down year or the market wouldn't explode. And this is what happens. The Bengals haven't prioritized defense, and that's why they lost players like Jesse Bates, because they wait to the last minute to pay them, hoping that they have a down year. And now Trey Hendrickson has all the leverage, and them trying to say that they're trying to trade him is a joke, because they put a poison pill expecting a first-round draft pick when the team that acquires him knows that they have to pay him $30 to $35 million. And when Michael Parsons gets paid, the market's going to explode even more.
Mm-hmm. All right, Bart, so sticking on that, and you obviously want your guys to have your back within that locker room, but can a point be made that, listen, the Bengals defense was not that great last season with Hendrickson leading the league in sacks, so going out there and trying to get a return for him instead of paying him, because obviously the defense wasn't that great without him. Is that something that the Bengals can stay claiming?
Well, you don't get better by getting rid of your best player. I would argue that Trey Hendrickson over the last 5 years has been the second or third best player on the team. They have a problem brewing, because eventually Orlando Brown Jr. is going to want to get paid as well. And what happens is when you pay all your players at the top end of the market, you can't build a team around them. It's not a Trey Hendrickson fault that they've done a bad job in drafting.
Sure. Can they win the AFC North if they lock up those three guys?
Say that again?
Can they win the AFC North if they sign all three of those guys?
Not at all, because they think they're going to outscore everybody. You can't outscore everybody because the other team's offense are arguably just as good as yours in that division.
A member of the Chargers, so he's saying this about his former team while on a new team.
The time just ran out, you know what I mean? Because it was just a team where, you know, we lost Ben, we lost a lot of the O-line. We just didn't know anything on offense, really. We didn't have identity. We had a young guy coming out quarterback. You know, I was young, the team was young, and I really didn't have nobody to almost learn from the offensive side. I think the veteran guy on that team was like a 2-3 year vet, and that's really nothing. You know what I mean? Like, he's still learning himself, and I'm coming in, and you know, I'm just trying to look for people to you know, pick their brain off of, and it was just defensive guys. So I'll go to the defensive guys to talk to them, but you know, it wouldn't be too much they could tell me about an offensive thing. You know what I mean? So. You know, through my years, I learned a lot that, you know, only I learned firsthand. And I feel like here, you know, I mean, we got a lot of veterans that I could learn even more stuff from, and even at the quarterback position and the O-line position, you know. So it was an interesting year there. I'll just say that. Interesting year.
Certainly leaving a lot of gray area in that end part, right? Interesting year. I'll just say that. So the lack of identity on offense, who do we put that on if he's right?
Well, I don't think you can just put it on one person. I think it's a combination of factors. I would primarily look at the head coach and Mike Tomlin, because he's got to own that style of play, football philosophy. That all falls on the head coach. But you also have to have the players to allow your team to play you the way you want to play them, and that's where I think the front office for Pittsburgh has some culpability in it. So even though I'm not going to absolve Mike Tomlin of blame, I'm not going to say he's the sole reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers have been in disarray on the offensive side of the ball. Remember, this is a franchise that's been cycling through offensive coordinators. They haven't been able to get that position right as well. So it's been an issue since the end of Ben Roethlisberger's career. If you look at the last 5 years, so last year Ben Roethlisberger and then what they've just been coming out of, you're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers' total offense not ranking higher than 23rd. Think about that. So for a half decade, your offense is bottom third of the NFL.
Wow.
How are you going to win a championship like that?
You're not going to.
The answer is you're not.
You're not going to win playoff games either.
And so, yeah, I think that Mike Tomlin definitely deserves blame in this, but the Pittsburgh Steelers front office is not blameless either.
Mm-hmm. If this was a report that was coming out of Philadelphia, let's say, and they didn't win a Super Bowl, what would we say? We would blame Nick Sirianni, right? If this was a report that was coming out of, let's say, Indianapolis, we would blame Shane Steichen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tomlin seems to be immune to a certain degree of criticism. And if you have a player coming out and saying, we didn't have an identity on the offensive side of the ball, we didn't know what we were doing, I didn't have anybody that could teach me things because there was no veteran presence there was no leader on that side of the ball. Well, of course, you look at the front office and say, it's up to you to make sure that you get that guy and that he gets in the building and that quarterback helps stabilize that side of the ball. This is something that in other organizations with coaches that have been maligned, we would strictly point to the coach and say, why is there an identity problem on either side of the ball? It would fall on the shoulders of the head coach, but it doesn't seem like we as a collective are ready to go there with Mike Tomlin.
So let me ask you this then. So on our show, I think it's very clear if you listen or watch us, and we appreciate it, we are all very supportive of Mike Tomlin. We all think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer right now. He never has to coach another game. We all have said if he was available, we would hire him to coach our team in 2 seconds. We think he is the main reason that this franchise overachieves year after year. Okay? But this offseason has not been pretty. All of the suggestions that we have made, in Small's case, in my case, as fan/media, in CeCe's case, as a former player /fan/media, none of the suggestions we have made, they have listened to. And I'm not saying they should, but some of them kind of made some sense, right? Go after Stafford, leave no stone unturned there, make an offer for this person, that person, whatever it may be. Are we at a point where this question has to be asked? Does he get too much credit or does he get not enough blame? They're kind of the same thing. I understand that. But like when you think about Mike Tomlin right now, does he get too much credit for everything that's happened, or does he get not enough blame for what's going on currently?
I think it's option B. And I think that's why Steelers fans are agitated and they're getting restless because, like I said, in any other circumstance, in any other organization, the head coach